reopening the Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Trump to reopen the Rock. Do you think that this is an elaborate troll, or is he serious about it?
Listen, when it comes to Trump, right? This guy likes to play around. All right, he likes to
Yeah,
be a little bit
right.
unorthodox.
That's
here,
what I'm saying. You
right?
know?
It wouldn't surprise me if this is like a special prison designated for like all the political prisoners of our time that hopefully get arrested for the horrible crimes that they have committed against
Yeah.
this country and this constitution. My idea originally was, okay, let's open it up, but it's only reserved for Epstein's client list. Only
Yeah. Well, we got that. We're going to talk about that later too.
Yeah, that's disappointing as well.
Yeah.
But that's my dream plan. Send all of the Epstein client list on the island. Put them on there. They love islands, right?
Yeah. They should know. I think
being on that island, so let's put him on that island. But I think Trump is being a little bit more serious here because he's talking about sending the most ruthless and violent criminals. He likes to do grand gestures that are very symbolic, and this is like the perfect grand gesture. This is the perfect kind of symbolism that he loves, and he loves to just set up a chilling effect. If you look at a lot of his leadership, it's always the kind of threat of force here that remains persistent, that always kind of works here. The chilling effect that prevents people from saying, you know what, now I'll walk over to the border. Now I'll walk through, because now it's like, oh, you're dealing with somebody else. They don't play games here. They're going to arrest you. Oh, I'm here illegally. I better not try to rob somebody or give them fentanyl or try to take their life here because I'm going to be deported here, and they're not going to give a damn about me, and they're not going to listen to the Democrats who are going to cry over me.
Yeah, I think I don't think they ever really had a lot of people ever housed in Alcatraz. I think it was always one of those like, this is reserved for the worst of the worst.
Yep.
I mean, here, this article here says legal experts say Trump can definitely reopen Alcatraz, but could face an avalanche of lawsuits. Let's see what Trump had to say.
So President Trump ordered the Bureau of Prisons, DOJ, and Homeland Security to reopen Alcatraz to house, quote, America's most ruthless and violent offenders. The last time Alcatraz housed prisoners was 1963. Here's the president explaining his decision.
These radicalized judges, they want to have trials for every single, think of it, every single person that's in our country illegally, that came in illegally. That would mean millions of trials. I mean, you know, it's a sad symbol, but it's a symbol of law and order.
Okay, so the Alcatraz, the last time it was opened in 1963, they got about 300, 400 people. Greg Jarrett.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of work for only 300 prisoners.
Yeah.
And we already have like supermax prisons. To me, I mean, yeah, but symbolically,
there's a lore to Alcatraz, right?
Yeah,
there allegedly were two people that like escaped, but they were never really heard from.
They never got found. Yeah, they died. They drowned probably.
They probably drowned.
Yeah,
let's just be real and honest with ourselves here. There's no escape from Alcatraz. There's the movie. There's the fiction lore, the kind of museum. I mean, the one downside is you won't be able to see it as a museum, but it is kind of a tale of the American kind of Wild West, the American kind of law and order type of country that, of course, it represents. So,
yeah,
for me, it's going to be very symbolic. Listen, I'm hearing reports that he's telling his government to reopen Alcatraz and to spend resources on doing it. And if it is going to be a place where some of the most notorious, biggest criminals are, it's definitely going to lead towards this kind of law and order representation that Donald Trump wants to get out there to the general public.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alcatraz is still relevant. If you asked 100 Americans to name like the worst prison ever,
Alcatraz,
they would all say Alcatraz. And most of them probably couldn't even name another prison unless they had been locked up. So I think they're like, the symbolicness of reopening Alcatraz, there actually is something there. Do I want to spend $100 million renovating it? No, I don't. So I would have to see, how much, if it was operating in the 60s, they didn't even have, power cell doors, and all this kind of stuff that modern prisons have. I don't know. I don't know, because there are like rules on how you can treat prisoners and all this kind of stuff. So if it can be reopened for a reasonable price and they make it they keep it an absolute shithole, I would support it.
Yeah. But this is what Donald Trump's thinking. Donald Trump is thinking, okay, we invest $100 million, but how much money could we save on setting up this chilling effect where a lot of people are going to be afraid of committing crimes right now? How much money can we save by having all these kind of hardened criminals send a larger message to everyone saying, hey, we're in the worst prison ever.
Yeah, right.
Because we committed these crimes. So, I mean, it's a trade-off. I mean, I just hate government wasteful spending. But when it comes to Trump, this seems like a very Trump thing to do, right? So I think this is a big reality. I think the steps are going to be made. It might take a while to do all of this, and it might not even happen under his administration. And then the next administration comes in, and it's a Democrat, and they're going to cancel the program right away and create a sanctuary for MS-13.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's got 3.5 years. I think if you got it going right away, you could rename it. Yeah, Gitmo West. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I mean, my biggest problem is that it only houses 400. If you're going to reopen it, we need to be able to put 5,000 people there.
Hey, that's prime real estate for San Francisco, okay?
Yeah. I think if you could put like, if we adopt like the El Salvadorian prison model, where they have like 15 to 20 people in every cell, and you're just like nut to butt all day, like, and it's just truly hell on earth. Then I hope that they can find out a way to house like a couple thousand people there.
I mean,
400.
I'm talking against that for human rights.
I would not want maybe they could. I'm saying maybe they could add on to it. Find a way to put more people out there, because it doesn't seem worth it.
There's a thing in our Constitution against cruel and unusual punishment. I would rather follow that. And I think just having the message like, oh crap, we're on an island, we're on Alcatraz here. I think that's enough. And if you have some of the worst people on there, that's just my perspective. Because talking to my friend who was just in jail unfairly, like, imagine if he had to go through more like pain and suffering than he already had when he's innocent. Like, he's innocent, and America has a prison problem, and it's definitely worth having a conversation, because I do believe a lot of this is creating just kind of universities for criminals.
Yes,
we're not
you come out a better criminal usually.
Yeah, it's called corrections, but it's not correcting anyone. It's making people better criminals, right?
Yep.
And there's a conversation to have about violent criminals. And then violent criminals, I understand. You got to be harsh because those people are either sociopaths and they're kind of genetically predispositioned towards committing the vast majority of violent crime against everyone. Those guys, I understand. You got to be tough. And this is the nuanced conversation here, because I do believe nonviolent crimes shouldn't be treated as harshly, and people there who don't hurt anyone shouldn't be in jail. Right?
I actually agree. I actually have a pretty liberal position on that too. Like, nobody should be in jail for possession of like any drug.
Yeah.
If it's a nonviolent crime, I think all you get when you put them in jail is a worse outcome. Like, you get a better criminal, you get somebody, it totally ruins their life. I just don't buy that there's
but it creates a program that creates more criminals, right? They know they figure out how to do other things when they're in jail that involve being bigger, badder criminals out there. And it really is something that I think needs more of a nuanced conversation, because, again, I think some people take it too far and they say, no, we need to set up a play center for all these prisoners.
Right.
No, I disagree with that, because the violent criminals are
homeless people will commit crimes during the winter to get locked up. Like,
exactly.
That tells me that prison is too nice.
It depends on which state and which jurisdiction you're dealing with too, right?
Yeah.
Because in places like Arizona, they don't play around. Okay.
No, that's true. That's true.
In other places, they're a lot more easier, on you. But at the same right, I think we do still have to balance human rights. We have to balance our kind of judicial process, and we have to respect the rights of innocent people. And if it's a victimless crime, I don't think it should be a prisonable offense. I think once we get rid of that, we get rid of this prison industrial complex.
You get rid of the overpopulation. Yeah.
Which has hijacked. And say what you may about Soros, and he's wrong for manipulating the system in his ways to allow these violent criminals on the streets. But at the same time, it's also a direct reaction towards, judges that were being paid by prisons to literally put children in jail. Right.
When that's true. A guy got caught doing that.
Yeah. So we need more of an honest, real conversation about this, because there's a smarter way to go about this, where we could actually deal with the root of the problem, deal with those sociopaths, criminals, put them on that island, put them away. But at the same time, let's not incentivize petty criminals to become bigger criminals and put them away and lock them away in places that absolutely just create more of a worse situation for everybody.
Yeah, I think 400 to 500 of the worst criminals imaginable on Alcatraz. I'm for it. Like you said, you make a good point for the PR of it. Just for the PR of it. Like,
yeah,
here we have this feared prison, and for the worst of the worst, that's where you're going. And you can suck a butt if you don't like it.